Hi there. So I'm in the process of repairing this Sony WM-22 Walkman from circa, I think, 1985 or so. Now, this was an eBay buy. It was sold as spares or repair, and indeed, when it arrived, it was not working. Now, the purpose of this video is really just to show how this kind of works inside, and I'm going to show you some of the problems I had, so that if someone else is wanting to repair the WM-22, then maybe this will help. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed when this came through the door was that the motor made noise when you press play, but the tape did not turn. And you can almost guess what this was. Of course, it was the band, the rubber drive belt on the motor. These perish over time, and they do one of two things actually. They either go very brittle and break and crumble, or they turn into a black goo, and that black goo is horrendous. And this one was turning into black goo. It hadn't quite got there, thankfully. But anyway, just all I did was buy a bumper pack of rubber bands off of the internet, Walkman drive belts, and found one that fitted and just stuck it on. Make sure that you look where the path of the belt when you do this, because they go in quite sort of convoluted ways. It surprised me that this one does this, for example. Anyway, so once the belt is on, then the mechanism is now turning. All of the gears that it should be, at least in this state. Now the next problem that I encountered was that the fast forward and rewind mechanism didn't work. And the reason for this is because there is a little spring and plastic grommet which sits on top of these cogs here. So it's these things here. Can't do this. There, those things. Focus. Okay, that thing in the background is supposed to sit on top of this cog. And it's supposed to push down the cog into the so that it engages with some of the cogs underneath them. And the problem here is that the ring has split, and it means that the spring doesn't sit on top of the cog anymore. It just pings off, and that means that if you fast forward or rewind, it doesn't work. Also, the pinch roller is engaged when you fast forward and rewind, and this cog is not working, which means that it will just unravel the tape inside your Walkman, which, yep, I chewed up a tape doing this, so there's a word of warning. So I haven't figured out how to fix this, but I imagine I can get some kind of clip or something which sits on top of there, allowing the spring to stay in place. Anyway, I'll have to figure that out. Now, the other thing that was wrong with this was that it was only giving one channel of output. And the reason for this was, if I turn this board over, okay, let's see if we can I haven't got enough hands for this, I'm holding my phone. Is this going to focus? I don't know if you can see that, but one of the pads lifted from the jack there, meaning that one of the channels was then not outputting. All I've done there is, because the pad lifted, I can't really solder it back down, so I've had to wrap a piece of single core wire around the terminal and then solder it onto the adjacent pin which the track was was leading to anyway. So that solved the problem with with only having a single channel. So if we come back out and get this thing to focus, I can now show you the mechanism working, but I'm still not finished here, and you'll see. So the first thing that you have to figure out is where this little switch is. This is usually pressed across by mechanically by the play mechanism actually. So you can get the motor to turn by just jamming a screwdriver in here, like so. Is that going to stay? It is, good. So you can see now that the mechanism is spinning off the power of the battery. You may also notice this horrible kind of whining sound, I guess. And I don't know if this is intentional. I don't know whether these all did this, but it's actually quite loud. Even you can hear it on top of the music very clearly. But what I might try doing is recapping this board here, because there's only a handful of caps on this. It won't take long, and maybe that will get rid of that noise. Maybe, I don't know. If you know, leave a comment and let me know, because I don't know really. But anyway, I can show you that it now works. I've got this hooked up to this Sony speaker. If I now press play, then we will hear some music. I'm only going to do it for a short amount of time, because otherwise Van Halen will come knocking on my door and they'll be unhappy. So here we go. There we go. Okay, bye.